Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Adam Burke from BangTheBook.com coming to you with our Monday mashup video. I'm going to chat a little bit here about MLB season win totals and some of the off-season preparations that you want to look to make for your Major League Baseball handicapping. Before I get into that, just want to remind you of all the great stuff going on over at BangTheBook.com right now. Daily college basketball piece from Kyle Hunter. Off to a fantastic start, getting a lot of run, a lot of traffic with that. You definitely want to check that piece out each and every day over there at the website. Same thing with Parker Michaels' NHL picks. Slow start to the month of January, but he's bouncing back now. Plus money on the season and giving a lot of great information on a daily basis as well. My opening line report up for Super Bowl 53. My game preview up for Super Bowl 53. We'll be doing a lot of prop betting stuff here over the next couple of weeks. Have you fully covered for that matchup between the Patriots and the Rams? We'll keep covering daily NBA and college basketball over at BangTheBook.com as well. My situational betting articles for the NBA and the NHL posted over there, and a college basketball one from Kyle Hunter coming up here a little bit later today. All right, let's chat some Major League Baseball because I'm tired of being cold and I want to think spring and think some positive thoughts. You know, those nice warm summer nights out there at the ballpark. So Caesars Palace putting out MLB season win totals a couple of weeks ago. My good buddy Matt Lindemann and the team out there in Las Vegas really pushing the envelope with early MLB season win totals, early NIT odds, doing a lot of things to advance the industry in a positive way, but means that I have to start thinking about baseball. And as the lead handicapper for baseball over at BangTheBook.com, and I will be doing my MLB betting guide, which we're going to have a Kindle edition, a PDF edition, and the individual team previews on BangTheBook.com, as well as my daily picks piece over the course of the season. Very hard at work digging into baseball. It's a little bit weird to be doing it with so much snow on the ground and with so much uncertainty right now with the free agent market and with some trades that are rumored to happen that may or may not happen. So, yes, there are a lot of uncertain times here with Major League Baseball. One of the reasons why I haven't posted too much yet, sort of want to see how things shake out a little bit, see where some of these free agents wind up signing, especially the two big ones, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper. But, could be some significant trades like a Corey Kluber deal. The Dodgers are reportedly interested in Starling Marte here today. So a lot of deals that could really go down, that could impact the season win total market. But still, you don't want to get caught off guard when these numbers are posted at one of your outs. So wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that I use in my preseason preparations, some of the things I'll talk about in my betting guide, and then also, of course, digging much deeper into the rosters, the farm system, all that type of stuff. But some possible starting points for you. I mean, obviously, you want to look at the personnel. You want to look at who's coming back, who's been lost. Has a team lost a 200-inning starter or a 180-inning starter, something like that? Does the team have a good bullpen? What is the lineup looking like? Is this going to be a team with a lot of big platoon splits? Those are all very important things to look at. You can do that as you get a little bit deeper into the offseason and see what these lineups and what these depth charts are really going to look like. As far as right now, some things that I would suggest to you, consider division strength. Teams play 76 of their 162 games within the division. That's 46.9% of the schedule. Do you have a team that's in a division where they've got a good rotation, but everybody else has a good rotation and the lineup is lagging behind a little bit? Is it a team that doesn't have a very good bullpen in a division with a lot of very good offensive teams? Is it a team that's got good pitching up and down, but not a whole lot of hitting, and the other teams in the division have more hitting than that? You want to consider division strength. It's very important because it makes up such a big part of the schedule. And furthermore, consider park factor. Consider a team like the Colorado Rockies, for example. Do you believe that German Marquez and Kyle Freeland can keep up what they did last season? Do you believe John Gray takes that next step? Depending on how you feel about that Colorado rotation, keep in mind that there's already the built-in Coors Field effect with the lineup. And when you look at the National League West, Arizona has a humidor. No longer the hitter's paradise it used to be. Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, all California ballparks, all close to the water, all dealing with that marine air. None of those three ballparks in California there consider to be very good hitting environments. So if you don't believe that Colorado's pitching staff is legit, if you don't believe that German Marquez and Kyle Freeland can repeat or at least come somewhere close to last season's performance, Well, you have to take a negative approach at the outset to the Colorado Rockies. Do they replace Adam Ottavino? What does Wade Davis wind up looking like the rest of the year? So these are all very important questions, and you want to make sure that you're factoring in these division opponents. I mean, think about it. Colorado last season won 44 games on the road. That was a franchise record for road victories for Colorado. The first time in franchise history they've won more than 41 games on the road in a season. Can they repeat that feat this year? If they can't, they better be really, really good at Coors Field. So you want to compare division strength from an opponent's standpoint and also from a park factor standpoint to make sure that these teams are going to have success when they go out on the road and play these division matchups. You think about the Mets. Citi Field is a phenomenal pitcher's park, one of the best in baseball right now. The Mets have good pitching. They have a very good lineup. They added some pieces in the bullpen, and you certainly have to like the acquisition of Edwin Diaz. Will the Mets hit? Because the Nationals have a good pitching staff. The Phillies have a good pitching staff. So the Braves have a solid pitching staff. So when it comes to a team like the Mets, yes, they have this built-in strength at home, but it's a strength for everybody that comes into Citi Field as well. So that's another consideration that you want to look to make. And obviously, too, again, we're not sure where everybody's going to sign, but those are some starting points from a division standpoint, using some examples like the Rockies, like the Mets. How about the Indians? They're still in a bad division, but will 3 teams in the American League Central lose 98 or more games this season? I don't know. The White Sox appear to be better, appear to be spending some money. The Tigers, maybe with some better health in the starting rotation, they could be a little bit better. The Royals, we at least know that they're going to be a very good defensive team. Maybe that helps them out a little bit. So all of this stuff, very, very important in your handicapping process. The American League West is another example. Last year there were 4 teams that won at least 80 games. Well, this year, though, there will be 3. The Angels, the Astros, and the Athletics. Because the Mariners, in full rebuilding mode, they go from being a contender last season to being a team that's not going to win more than probably 75 games this year. They're certainly not going to win 80 games. So what does that mean for Houston and Oakland? Is Anaheim the team that benefits? Will the Texas Rangers be a little bit better? Those are considerations that you can make at this point in time, even though we don't know where everyone's going to wind up from a free agent or from a transactional standpoint. How about looking at the alternative standings metrics? Pythagorean win-loss is a big one. That's a standings metric derived from run differential. You look at the luckiest teams last year, the teams that had the biggest positive gaps between their actual record and their Pythagorean win-loss record. Seattle would have been a fade team coming into the season anyway. They were 12 games better with their actual record than with their Pythagorean win-loss record. They were outscored on the season and finished well above 500. They were a team that would be on a downswing. They wind up rebuilding anyway, so maybe the writing was kind of on the wall there, and they expected that things would be a little bit tougher this season, so they went ahead and made some of those transactions. Colorado, a team I already mentioned, they were +6 in actual record versus Pythagorean win-loss record. Boston, Milwaukee, Miami, all +5. The unluckiest teams, the Dodgers. The Dodgers, based on Pythagorean win-loss, should have been 10 games better than they were, and they still wound up being in the postseason. They're making a deep run in that very difficult National League West. The Orioles and the Nationals, both -8 in terms of their actual record versus Pythagorean win-loss. The Indians, -7. Astros, -6. Now, with those last 2 teams, blowout victories will skew your run differential a little bit. The Indians, of course, playing in an awful division, won a lot of games in lopsided fashion against division opponents. Houston, though, just that good. That is a team that does have probably a higher ceiling than what we saw last season, at least from a regular season standpoint. So blowouts and records in one-run games can really skew the Pythagorean win-loss records, so keep that in mind, but look for those outliers. Look for those overachievers and underachievers. Can be a good starting point for you when it comes to MLB season win totals. Another standings metric that I really love to use is called base runs. Base runs can be found over at Fangraphs. And in fact, if you search through our Bang the Book YouTube page here, I did a screencast video last summer on how to use Fangraphs to help with your baseball handicapping. So you definitely want to make sure that you keep an eye out for that. I think that's a very informative and very helpful video that we did last summer. But what base runs does is it puts all of the individual outcomes into a context-neutral run-scoring environment. So basically, if a team goes single, home run, strikeout, 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 that's 3 runs. If a team goes strikeout, strikeout, home run, single, strikeout, that's 1 run. Same 6 outcomes, just in a different sequence. So because they were sequenced differently, the team got 3 runs instead of 1 run. This is a concept discussed in Joe Pita's book, Trading Bases. It's called cluster luck. And what base runs can do is it can take some of those outliers and point to teams that got very fortunate with their sequencing and teams that got very unfortunate breaks with their sequencing. So base runs definitely a standings metric that I like to look at and will be incorporated into all of my season win total write-ups this year. Finally, you want to look for teams that had maybe one really good month or one really bad month, because that can skew a season in a dramatic way. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies were in contention all season long. They were in first place over the summer for quite a long period of time. They finished 80-82 on the season. What happened? They went 8-20 in the month of September. 8-20. And they finished 2 games under 500. So that's a team that came into the final month of the season with a very good 72 and 62 record, 10 games over, but in September, they completely fell apart and collapsed. And that's sometimes a sign of a young team, but maybe that's a team that you want to be on going into the next season because they just ran out of gas or because they had injuries in the final month. Something like that. One bad month will skew a season for a team. How about the New York Mets? Lots of injuries for them over the course of the summer. They were 5-21 in the month of June. They finished the season 77-85. So they played very well outside of that 1 month where there were some injuries and some unfortunate circumstances and things of that sort. The St. Louis Cardinals, 22-6 in the month of August, but they had losing months in June, July, and September. So what are the Cardinals? Are they that team that played that well in August? Or are they that team that struggled through the final 4 months of the season? How about the San Francisco Giants? 5-21 in the month of September. Terrible year for them. Significant injuries. Johnny Cueto, Tommy John, Madison Bumgarner was dinged up early in the year. Jeff Samardzija wasn't the same. Maybe the Giants are a little bit of a bounce-back candidate after having such a bad September because, again, a lot of people basing their thoughts and their notions about these teams off of their final regular season win-loss record, and you can get some of those outliers that really do skew how a team winds up looking for 162 games. So those are some starting points here for Major League Baseball. Obviously, right now, everyone's still worried about the Super Bowl, college basketball, NBA, NHL, but never a bad thing to think spring. Think about Major League Baseball here. We're less than a month away from the start of spring training, about 2 months and a week away from the start of the season. So not a bad time to start thinking about some of those longer-term investments in the MLB season win totals market. I'm Adam Burke from BangTheBook.com.